So can you tell me what are 3 mistakes you've learned the hard way hunting big deer?
First things, you got to keep mama happy at home. You got to, she was like, babe, you're really doing good this year. And I'm like, really? Yeah, I sure am. I'm staying home as much as I can, babe. One of the most important lessons I've learned is I have overlooked early season and late season.
Same thing for me. Like usually once the rut's over, I'm like, all right, that's it. My season's a wrap. It's over. Yeah. So I got an interesting question for you here, Jeff. I was thinking about this the other day. Everyone gets on these podcasts and they're always talking about the good stuff. I was like, man, wouldn't people love to know the lessons that some of us have learned the hard way? So can you tell me what are 3 mistakes you've learned the hard way hunting big deer? I mean, just it could be simple, it can be complex. It's up to you. Just stuff to help people lessen the learning curve. You know what I mean? Like we've all had mature deer we made a mistake on. We're like, oh, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah. So 3 lessons I learned the hard way. Okay. First things, you got to keep mama happy at home. You gotta make sure all your affairs are in order. At home. So when it gets time to go, it's you can take off and do it. Right now is the perfect time. It's Christmas. Buy her a little something extra, even though she didn't want it or says she didn't have to have it. That's a great time because if mom ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And I got a very understanding wife who lets me go a lot. And actually, like 2 weeks ago, she's like, babe, you're really doing. And this was like after Illinois, and which I did come back early. But she was like, babe, you're really doing good this year. And I'm like, really? Yeah, I sure am. I'm staying home as much as I can, babe. So that's kind of a little off topic there, but that's a big deal because if you don't, you got that pressure of always having that in the back of your mind. Getting home to your kids, and I'm a family guy, family first guy, so I got to practice what I preach too. But I guess one of the most important lessons I've learned is, over the years, kind of going back to what we just talked about. I have overlooked early season and late season. I've just used kind of early season, not necessarily late season, but I've really kind of made early season the redheaded stepchild, and the fact that I have used it to get more of an inventory. I know what bucks I want to shoot come September, but being my August, September, by the time trail cams are done rolling out, but me and my dad are, we just want to get a look at this buck and make a decision, and we don't have the kill mode. I mean, we're just like, listen, let's see what we got. Let's see this deer in person. So we're going to watch him from afar, which, really that early season, if you got a certain buck you're after, that is the best time to kill him. Especially in bait states. We don't hunt a lot of bait states, but, Iowa, Illinois is definitely not bait states, but, Kansas and Georgia, I know where you guys are at, Kentucky, Ohio, if those deer are on a pattern early, they're never going to be on a pattern like that. Unless you get it seems like you don't really have to have that weather early season. Now, late season, you got to have that weather, but I've just put so much emphasis on the rut every year because, every stand I hang, every food plot I'm disking up, every time I scout, I'm thinking about the rut. I'm thinking about sitting in that stand November the 7th, November the 10th. And I've just put all my efforts and energy towards the rut, which I think I would I still made that mistake this year some too. I mean, just because October is a lot more busier month for me in the business that I do. So I put a little more emphasis on the rut and watching those days. And then, October, early October, you got them daylighting. Late October, daylighting like crazy. If you can get a cold snap in October, it's incredible. You can look back at our cameras every single year. Late October, they're lighting up the camera scrapes, any type of barely cold front you can get. And then November, it's just like you're sitting there, you're hunting almost all day. I don't do all day sits. That's just not me. But, and you're like, man, where are all these deer at or where are the bucks at? So overlooking early season, overlooking that pre-rut is probably the biggest mistake I've made over the years, which I'd have been a lot more effective hunter instead of just going all in on the rut.
Yeah, I've same thing for me. Like usually once the rut's over, I'm like, all right, that's it. My season's a wrap. It's over. This is over. I'm going home, tail tucked between my legs if I haven't, harvested one yet. But This year I really learned. I mean, obviously with the deer you killed when I was there filming, but then also my own late season hunt. And then, I mean, the two mature bucks I encountered this year, one was early season, the first day of season, and one was 4 days ago, which would have been December, what, like 21st? So
Yeah,
it's like there's so much more predictable. And I mean, the rut's fun because it's crazy, but there's
yeah.
also
You
years
never
like
know
this
what you're
year
going
when
to
it's
kill your neighbor's
slow.
deer. Yeah.
So,
Now the rut's crazy. It is, and I think that kind of leads into my next mistake I've made, which me and you can attest to this probably more so than anybody right now it seems. But just after the rut, it wears me out. I hunt so hard, and so I'm like mornings after the rut, I just don't do. Well, look what happened if we would have said we're not going to hunt a morning after the rut in Illinois. We wouldn't have shot that big buck, or you wouldn't have had that great encounter you did in Kentucky a couple days ago. So it's easy to do.
Ain't looking, yeah, ain't looking